And here we are, guys! Everyone, welcome to game number 1. Once again, I think the flags should be correct, I believe. Sebastian is Uruguayan. TheViper, if I'm not mistaken, of course, he is Norwegian. I'm just going to look for Sebastian really quickly, and indeed, he is Uruguayan. And this is what we have for game number 1. We're gonna keep the colors as they are, and TheViper is going to be playing in the yellow color. And usually I've been trying to change the player colors to blue and red, usually, especially when we have something like this, where TheViper is playing yellow and we have a desertic map, right? But I've been doing it out of an abundance of cautiousness, you could call it, to make sure that absolutely everyone can distinguish the player from the map terrain. And I am actually not really sure if anybody is having the issue, so if we have anybody having the issue, do let me know. Otherwise, I think we should be good. Hey, Tail! Hello, hello. King of Nargothrond, do you make a poll? Or we already know TheViper is going to gently kill Sebastian with kindness. I don't think we are going to enable predictions unless we get a performance that prompts us to. Because the last time that we saw this matchup, it was not particularly even. So, yeah, once again, I'm just going to keep TheViper in the yellow for this series. And if anyone is having any issues distinguishing the player from the terrain, do let me know. We can go back to making TheViper red, but I thought it might be nice to have the player in the color that they've chosen, right? So it's part of their identity. So, taking a look at the civilizations, down the south we'll see that Sebastian, he's playing with Mayans. That means he'll begin with 1 extra villager at the expense of 50 food. He does have, however, with Mayans, 10, 20, and 30% cheaper archer units in the feudal castle and imperial ages. In addition to... there we are. Beautiful. In addition to 15% longer lasting resources, and for the team bonus, they're gonna have a discount on walls. TheViper playing up in the north with the Chinese does begin with 3 extra villagers, so 2 more compared to Sebastian, but at the expense of 200 food and 50 wood, because that's all the food you begin with usually. That means that TheViper will be forced into idling the TC a little bit, but take a look at that. Usually with the Chinese, and we have talked about this before, you get about 22-23 seconds of idle TC time before you're able to stabilize your economy in a way that allows you to train villagers consistently, right? So getting a sub 20 second counter for the idle TC time over here is nothing short of amazing, and TheViper's done it. Besides that, the Chinese get 5 extra line of sight and 5 high population support per TCs, as well as 10, 15, and 20% cheaper upgrades in the feudal castle and imperial ages. Team bonus, 10% extra food on farms. Now let's take a look. Sebastian is bringing some militias already. And TheViper's reaction is swift and appropriate. He gets the quick walls around the berry bushes, so Sebastian cannot do anything. And he gets the quick walls up around the wool line as well, so Sebastian won't be able to do much of anything over there as well. Down the south, it's the only area where TheViper is exposed, and I don't think, actually, Sebastian has scouted that area. Well, he has, but he doesn't know about the second lumber camp from TheViper. He should be imagining at this stage, the players are already going for the second lumber camp, so Sebastian could have realized about that, but hasn't yet. We need enchanted bones. Come on. Oh! Wait a moment, though. Wait a moment. Sebastian is about to get the first villager pick over here, and TheViper, he's trapped. The militia's body blocking the villager, but TheViper manages to squeeze past the units. Let's see if Sebastian can do anything. If he gets too close to the sun, he can burn. Yeah, first blood over here going in favor of the Uruguayan player. Probably not what anybody would have expected, but still, TheViper is, regardless, on his way to the feudal age. He's sending some villagers over to the gold. And he's adapting his build. Is going to try and make a play for archers instead. He does not have any militias. He does not have anything, so it's going to be a straight archer play. Sebastian instead, he's going after the feudal age himself on 23 villagers. Would be 24 population if it weren't because of the militias. Yeah, and this is going to be a Drush Archer play from the blue player. There we go. PLH is here for the Viper. What does it do? Goes for the Archer range right away. It's got 2 villagers coming up for it. Trying to batter the palisades down. There we go. Yeah, overall, that's looking pretty good for Sebastian. He's managed to not only get the first villager kill, but also, if you take a look, he's managed to get a villager lead against the Viper, and the Viper does not have wheel power over here. It's just Sebastian's economy has been very efficient. He's been very effective at gearing the villagers up. Really happy Sebastian is in the Platinum League. He always does well, but not quite well enough. This is his chance. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Sebastian is one of those promising players we always talk about. One of those guys who, with some extra experience, tournament experience for the most part, some extra experience against these guys, should be able to skyrocket his abilities. We take a look. You'll see that Sebastian is a plenty fast player. 120, 30 APM over here compared to the Viper, about 25, 30% higher. So the speed is there. It's just decision making, of course. That's going to make the difference over here, as we have seen oftentimes much slower players but better decision making are going to more than offset for the speed difference. So let's take a look over here. Sebastian, in the next couple of years, should be going up quite nicely. He's got the tools. It's very similar to what happened to Hera as well, I remember. Hera also used to be an extremely strong, or an extremely fast player, rather, in the early days. And this APM was not very efficient. Like, it was very fast, but oftentimes he wouldn't really achieve much of anything with it. It feels to me like that's the case for Sebastian as well, and we'll see if he'll be able to fix it the same way that Hera was able to, where it became a lot more efficient, or not. I hear the Matador has some immense APM as well. The topic came up some clan channel when we talk of APM. We figured Derp, Sebastian, and Matador had to be the fastest 2K plus player. I didn't realize about Matador. I don't remember taking a look at his APM, but I'm certainly going to try and remember and keep an eye on it. But take a look at this. Take a look at this. The quick wall coming up for the Viper over there, allowing him to get the hill advantage against these units. He should be able to take the archers down, and for the most part, he's gotten a better KD over there. But Sebastian's numbers are still looking pretty good, and the Viper, if it weren't because of him bringing some villagers over here, would most likely not have gotten cleaned up because of the militias, but the villagers certainly made a big difference. Now Sebastian's still on top though. Take a look at that military count over here. Sebastian's on 14, the Viper's on 6. But twice the military count right now for Sebastian. Now he's got to be careful not to overcommit and to stay in the FLH forever, unless he gets a substantial lead in the FLH, which will allow him to potentially snowball this one already. He's just got to be mindful over here not to overcommit, while the Viper is going to be playing defensively instead. Another interesting thing as well is the fact that Sebastian is going to be completely walled off very soon. On the right hand side and up in the north of his base is completely walled off, and on the left hand side he's open for the time being. I imagine he's probably just paying too much attention to the fight at the center. He should be going for some walls over there. He's got the resources, could potentially even add a market into the mix, and he will go for the market as part of the walls. Beautiful. To be honest, my APM is well above my elo as well. It's the legacy of my long MMO healing history. During boss fights, I keep a fast APM even during slow phases, just so I'd be in the right rhythm when stuff actually happens. So I do loads of extra clicks here too. Right. Yeah, that's a way to increase APM, of course, the effectiveness of it and the efficiency of it will be different. But yeah, there we go. You know, Sebastian is making all the right choices. He's making all the right choices. He's going up to the castle age already earlier than the Viper. Well, the yellow player is not on his way up yet. He's got archers on the way though. I find it difficult to change rhythm very quickly. That's why in tournament fighters I'm constantly moving. In RTS games, I always click and so on. But when I actually need to be fast, I already have the pace up. Yeah, that's a good way to keep your rhythm for sure. You should be able to train yourself to go from 0 to 100, so to say. And the flip of a switch, but that's something you gotta be mindful about and train for. So not something that's just going to be easy to do for anybody. So yeah, it's understandable, of course. In a sustained game, being 100% at all times is always going to be difficult, right? It's going to become a stamina thing. Second DC on the way for Sebastian's in the Viper. The Viper is going to be in the castle age in about 45 seconds. That is a significant head start for Sebastian to it. He's gone up earlier. He's got the TCs on the way already. He did end up getting a little bit of extra idle TC time compared to the Viper, but because of the extra TCs coming up sooner, it's not going to make much of a difference. He's going for wheelbarrow himself. Yes, sir. Like an old car engine, when it starts, you never want to turn it off again. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, you know, I'm assuming that you can train it so that you can go from 0 to 100 in a split second. The reason I assume that is because of my background as a musician. There is a very similar situation when you play an instrument, where if you want to play a fast passage, it's much easier, at the very least in the beginning, to already be playing something fast before it, or ramp up to the faster pace. You are usually going to struggle big time unless you train specifically, right, to mitigate it, to go from 0 to 100 speed. I know it can be done, I've done it myself, but I assume it's going to be similar for RTSs and for video games in general, but I haven't tried it yet. We'll see. Engagement should be going in favor of Sebastian. He's got the heal, but the numbers are favoring the Viper, though. Yeah, numbers over here. Actually, that heal, it was a little bit misleading. It was the same elevation for both these players. I thought for a moment Sebastian was on top over there, but no. He does still have a substantial amount of units left, though, to go up in the north. Meanwhile, the Viper down the south. He's got 6 crossbows, not too many. He won't be able to engage against the TC, and there's a manual coming up from Sebastian and the Viper. The Viper realized about the archers over here. He lost a villager already to these units, and Sebastian is gonna be cautious. He's gotta be careful over there. Sticking to the choke point over there around the palisade in the house is high risk. For all Sebastian knows, the Viper could have his own defensive siege workshop and he could be sending a manual over, so he's got to get out of the choke point that he will. The Viper sticking to 1 TC, yes. He's got him ballistics. He's got him Thumbring second armor. He does have better upgrades compared to Sebastian. Sebastian does have the Mangonel over here. Let's see. Good unit control for the Viper. Actually, really good. He's going to clean out the majority of the units from Sebastian over here, but he will still be on the back foot. Sebastian's been able to keep on going. To keep production going as well, the Viper. He's producing from 3 archer ranges. He's gotten a bit of KV so far, but still, Sebastian's military count is actually higher compared to the Vipers. Now, this would be a good time for Sebastian to add a 3rd archer range, given the fact that he's got 4 archers skewed from 2 archer ranges, and he's got still surplus resources. Should be on the economy. He needs to go for triple archer range, right? But he's not going for it. He's got the university instead. He's gonna try and go for some extra upgrades. Well, 2 manas 4 from Sebastian, putting pressure against the DC. The Viper's going for a defensive siege workshop himself. And Hourcraft, thanks so much for the sub. 17 months. Beautiful shot over there. Or shots, I should say, from Sebastian. But yeah, 17 months. It's very much appreciated. Hourcraft. Hope you're doing alright. Hope everything's going well for you. When I try to micro against magnets, usually big balls of rocks ended up with my archer's face. Yeah. Usually when I try to micro against mangonels, I try to cushion the magnet projectiles with the face of my archers as well. It doesn't work for some reason. It's the same way when I try to feed the boar with human flesh to increase its food count. It doesn't work. My villagers just die, but the boars don't take it. Anyway. Sebastian is still the one putting the most pressure over here. He's still the one with the strongest economy. And though he got a university up a while ago, he's not managed to get ballistics yet. The Viper is already getting the defensive manuals he needed. He's got 2 on the way. He is still producing from 3 archer ranges. Sebastian not so much. Yeah, that's going to be 1 for 1. Another siege workshop coming up on top of the hill. For Sebastian, he's got a lot of stone miners. He's made a heavy switch to it. He's got 16 stone miners. But he needs... This is not good, Sebastian! He needs to hold on to the hill if he's ever hoping to get a castle up over there. Oh! And the magma shot was completely off! And that magma shot from the Viper was better! And Sebastian does not manage to get another magma shot before the mana goes down. So the villager will go down and the bull player will get pushed away over here. And the Viper is starting to gain some momentum, interestingly enough, though. He is... right now, collecting a lot of stone himself. He's got the 40C on the way, so the Viper's gonna try and catch up. And Sebastian is on his way to the Imperial Age. Well, he does have a stronger economy, and he did finally add a 3rd archer range. Now, this is not the best engagement for him. Was banking on the numbers to trump the Viper's units, but it's of course going to be a lot more complicated than that. Micro. Unit control is going to come to play, and in the end, Sebastian will be forced into a defensive castle behind the archer ranges. To kill a villager with military unit, you can't eat her meat. Yep. No cannibalism in Age of Empires. But you would think the boar eating human flesh should still yield a larger amount of food, right? This is probably not something I want to keep on talking about for too long. Here comes the monetization. Well, not that I can monetize though. I need 1,000 subs on YouTube before we can get there. So if you're not subbed to my YouTube channel, what are you doing with your life? I was taking a look at some metrics the other day, and actually about 65% or so. Holy crap, it's a loud honk. 65% or so of my YouTube viewers are actually not subscribed. I think that's the case for most YouTube channels. The majority of the views are coming from not sub people. And to be completely honest, usually I wouldn't really care about the sub count. It's kind of similar to the follower count on Twitch. Doesn't matter, right? What matters is the views. But if I don't get to 1,000, I cannot monetize, so in this case it does matter. And the micro has been really, really good for the Viper, I agree with you. OGH. And hello, Cliffy as well. Hope you guys are doing alright. So the Viper's on his way to the Imperial Age, pretty similar to what we saw in the Castle Age. Sebastian does get there to the next stage earlier. And he's got a significant head start to it. We have Arbalister and Bracer on the way for Sebastian. The Viper. Viper's got 24 crossbows. Sebastian is on 32. Very strong micro. You were mentioning from the Viper earlier is the only reason why he is ahead in KD over here. You managed to get a few extra villages as well from Sebastian. And then on the left hand side, yeah, we see a castle coming up for Sebastian on top of the hill. Here we go, first trebuchet. So Sebastian going right up against the TC. This is the TC the Viper is actually going out to the Imperial Age with. A single trebuchet is not going to take the TC fast enough. Even if it did not get repaired, the Viper could very easily use the farmers to repair the TC, so it's not like the... Yeah, you see, the Viper's gonna try and repair the TC, right? Of course, he needs to. But the trebuchet, I don't think it would have taken the TC down fast enough on its own right anyway. And here come the Arbalisters. So now the Viper cannot repair the TC effectively, but he does manage to get to the Imperial Age anyway, though. Well done, and Sebastian doesn't die losing a bunch of the Arbalisters over there to a TC, so let's take a look. He's got chemistry about to finish research, and the Viper's only going for chemistry now. The head start to the Imperial Age has been substantial for Sebastian, very significant. And there's that guild magnet shot! Sebastian is paying attention now and gets the manual down, but he will get surrounded also by skirmishers and will go down in the end. However, the TC does crumble too. Sebastian is left on 4 TCs, 2 castles. The Viper's gonna be left on 3 TCs, 1 castle. The military count right now favors Sebastian as well, but a lot of his military is going to be out of position to defend the trebuchet, so he's going to pack the trebuchet back up and bring it back down the south. I love how the Viper knows when to push and when to pull back and go away. Yeah, it's... assessing the situation is going to be one of the most fundamental skills in Age of Empires 2. It's going to be just as important, if not more so, compared to sheer speed, potentially even unit control, right? So, game knowledge as well. So it's one aspect of game sense that players will get the more they play with more experience, and this is once again really, really good for Sebastian. He might be able to take the castle down over here. We have 3 trebuchets. There we go. Meanwhile, there is another castle on the way. That's going to be the 3rd castle for Sebastian. And yeah, it's going to be very good for the blue player. The more he plays against these higher level players, the better he's going to be able to, or the more he's going to be able to get out of those games when analyzing them afterwards. So it's good. And the castle from the Viper should be going down. He's going to be left to no castles, just to seize to defend himself with the other castle he's going for on the right hand side. It's going to be in the middle of nowhere, providing defenses to absolutely nothing. Not even the goal over there is protected by the castle with a few Arbalisters. Sebastian should be able to take those down, and this is actually really, really good for Sebastian, and I'm wondering if he would consider making a switch to Eagle Warriors right now. The Arbalesters have been effective for the most part, but it's been a struggle for him to really get past Viper's defenses, and he always needs to go for these systematic pushes where he sends everything through a single area. If he went for Eagle Warriors, he should be able to spread these units up, roam around, raid, and the Viper wouldn't really stand a chance against those units. Does the Snek know the games and not series matter? Well, series are the first deciding factor though for the ranking over there, followed by games, if I am not mistaken. Am I incorrect in saying this? This is what I remember from the handbook. So games will be the first tiebreaker, followed by direct match. Here we go. Beautiful. That was momentum over here. Continues the Viper. He's still gonna keep on sending just skirmishers, and you really gotta wonder though. It's one of those things, right? Being able to abstract yourself from the game, get a big picture, is so much harder to do when you're actually playing than when you're spectating something. So right now we've been talking about deals for a while, but Sebastian is kind of tunneling over here a little bit, right? He's kind of stuck just going for skirmishes. To be fair, because his economy is technically stronger compared to the Viper, if he does go just for skirmishers, assuming that he can stay to 200 population, he should be able to outproduce the Viper anyway. But this is not really a unit that's going to allow you to easily go around and raid. If he had made a play for Eagles, that would be really good against skirmishers and for raiding as well. And there we are! Sebastian is starting to think about the Eagle transition and the Viper. By the minute, he's getting cornered further and further. Eagle Warrior upgrade on the way for Sebastian. Conscription on the way as well. So we'll see Chainmail Armor very soon. We'll see Elite Eagle Warrior. Potentially El Dorado? Could see El Dorado. The castle's on the way for Sebastian. He's gotta be careful. We have some scouts over here. Notice that the Viper's adaptation over here is coming in a little bit earlier. So he's adapted to the skirmishers from Sebastian faster than Sebastian has adapted to the military from the Viper. But however, Elite Warrior is coming out right now. Sebastian's going to have it in 30 seconds. And he's got squires on the way. He's got chain mail armor on the way. He's got forging that finished researching already. And how many barracks do we have for Sebastian? Right now he's producing from 2, but he's also researching with one of the extra barracks. He's got 9 total. If he can't push fast enough, population limit is a good comeback tool. True, true. Yeah, now, of course, he needs some space for the Eagles. He's gonna get 13 Eagles, and that's gonna be about it. He needs to go for Dorado as well. Sebastian is starting to lose grip of the game, and the Viper, he's got 3 choices to work with. He's gonna start making a play for Knights. He's got Cavalier on the way, and the Viper's adaptation. He's reading Sebastian like a book. And that's the thing, those are the decisions that we were talking about that can cost you a game which seemed to be pretty much in the bag just a few minutes ago now, Sebastian. He's gonna be facing 200 population, the Viper, who has been able to bounce back from his corner. He's got a castle on the right hand side. He's expanding his economy. He still has plenty access to gold. And with Cavalier coming up, well, the Viper should be able to take care of the Eagle Warriors over here. We'll see, of course. Sebastian, he's going for plate mill armor, and he could potentially make a play for Halberdier. He's got some pikemen on the way. But the Viper's reactions have been on point, and Sebastian is taking a little bit longer, not looking quite as sharp. I guess you could go on and say that's going to be one of the main differences, right, between a player like Sebastian versus a player like the Viper. We take a look at APM over here. Sebastian is still looking much stronger compared to the Viper by about 40% or so. And it's been the case forever. But still, the Viper is able to get the better end of the deal time after time. But KDE so far still about 6-5. Sebastian's going for the pikeman upgrade, not even half of the year yet. He's got Blast Furnace. I'm really sure if he's got an El Dorado, actually. He has not got an El Dorado! Oh lord, this is so rough! For the Bull player, those Eagles are nowhere near as strong as they should be. Dorado is going to boost their HP by 66%. There's a huge boost from a single upgrade. It's a no-brainer. Sebastian does have gold, given he's got most of the map control, but it's going to become an issue very soon. He's got one goal on the left-hand side. He's not collecting from. On the right-hand side, he's collecting from this gold quite heavily, and the Viper still has these 2 golds himself. So who's got the most left? Well, the Viper's got 1200 gold left. Meanwhile, Sebastian has 1700 gold left over there, and then the left-hand side, of course, is going to be 2400. Assuming that he goes for it, and he's got vision of it. He's just not been collected from it yet. This is actually really good for Sebastian. Instead of going for the safe gold, he is going to start collecting from this one instead, right? From the 4-1. And I don't think this was Vipers. I think this is just a neutral gold. But it's fantastic because if Sebastian were to get pushed away from here, he would still have 2400 gold to collect from on the left-hand side. It's gonna start making the transition already. The Viper? The Viper's not going for Cavalier anymore. Light Cavalry on the way for the Yale player. Despite the fact he's got plenty of gold, the Viper decides to go for a full trash army over here. Now that Sebastian's got Halberdier to work with. Doesn't seem like the Viper's army composition is going to be good enough. And you know what? Sebastian's starting to get... Yes, he's starting to get himself in a much better position. The Viper is gonna get the raids going though on the left-hand side. He already has some like already over here. Let's see how many villager kills. He's gotten about 15 villager kills, 12 villager kills actually, 50 now. It's going to keep on getting more and more. Sebastian though on the other hand is going for El Dorado finally. And he does have his own raids going as well. Not too many though. Units from the Bull player for, but he's gonna try and change that. On the right hand side, he's got Halberdier to take on the skirmishers, the Cavalier and the Light Cavalry. He needs to go for the Eagle Warrior still, but he doesn't really have the gold right now to sustain production. He tried to make a play for the goal on the left-hand side. He got pushed away by the military units from the Viper. Now he should be able to get control of it once again. See on the right-hand side, plenty of barracks. He needs to start making a play for Eagle Warriors once again. Fantastic. Sebastian is trying to go after the TCs now. Interesting. These trebuchets are completely unprotected. Okay, there we go. The units were just trailing behind by a little bit. One trebuchet could go down though. Yeah, that was not good for Sebastian. Left hand side. Halberdier, Eagle Warriors. Combination of units. We have some Arbalesters from the Viper. Should be enough against the Halberdier. Not so much against the Eagle Warriors. But Sebastian's starting to struggle to keep up though. His resources are not looking the best. He doesn't really have too much gold left. Yeah, he's getting pushed away from the goal by Viper skirmishers. Now the Viper doesn't have any gold left anymore himself either, so he's gonna try and collect from this one. Can you hear the dog barking in the background, by the way? Let me know so that I close the window, otherwise we'll just keep on going like this. And there's a very... You can tell that the dog is probably very tiny because it barks so freaking loud. There is no dog? You can't hear it? Can't hear it? Okay, perfect, thank you. But yeah, Sebastian started to struggle himself, and while the Viper might be able to get access to this goal on the right-hand side of the game, there isn't really too much left, right? Only about 500. Meanwhile, Sebastian has struggled to get access to this goal again. You gotta wonder, though, he went for the TC forward over here. Probably would have been better for him to get the TC up right next to the goal instead. But anyway, Eagle Warriors are roaming around, and Sebastian's trying to get the damage down over here, but his population's crumbled big time. 130 population for Sebastian, 200 for the Viper. And it's just incredible to witness in real time how the Viper is able to take a game that seemed to be pretty much lost and just wrap it up, right? Take it in the latest stages of the game. I have talked in the past about this phenomena of the late game, when you have players who are going to be quite competitive in the earlier stages of the game, but the elo difference is substantial. Usually the higher elo player is going to be much better at keeping up in later stages of the game. They're going to be better to make at making unit transitions. They're going to be better at making the right decisions, defending themselves, getting the raids going, countering their opponent's units, and overall having a much smoother ride in later stages of the game. And it seems like that's going to be the case for the Viper right now compared to Sebastian. He's been in a much better position. He's been able to put himself in a much better position. And there we go. First cast crumbles from Sebastian, and this seems to be the beginning of the end for the blue player. 120 population. The Viper still pretty much stuck at 200. Just making sure that Sebastian doesn't get any resource on the left-hand side anymore. Why does Sebastian have better score? I would imagine the KD over here, while better for the Viper, probably was not quite as cost-effective. Let's take a look at the gather economy time so far. Yeah, Sebastian seems like he's also been able to collect a lot of extra resources throughout the game, so that could compensate also for the Viper's extra population. But you gotta keep in mind that, yeah, the population alone is not going to make up a big percentage of the score in later stages of the game. So Sebastian calls the GG. He realizes his position is not good, and game number 1 is gonna go in favor of the GL Legend. Let's go and take a look at the achievements. Better KD for the Viper, very close to 4-3. Is this the first series of the day? Yes, sir. We're gonna have 4 series a day. And for the economy, we'll see also a stronger economy for Sebastian as well. And did you hear that bike? Also, just making sure. That one doesn't seem like it's going to be loud enough to be heard, but yeah, I'm just keeping the window open over here because it's summer, you know. I was complaining about 36 degrees in winter. You can imagine summer's not my favorite season of the year. For society, a much higher villager max count for Sebastian. About 15 higher compared to the Viper, but he was also the one to lose the most villages as well. And this is what I was referring to when talking about the cost effectiveness of the trades. The Viper was able to get so much damage down with the units that he killed. Well done, Viper 1, Sebastian 0. Here we go, guys. Welcome everyone to game number 2, the second one in the series over here. So far, the Viper up 1-0 against Sebastian. And for the civilizations, we're gonna see Sebastian playing with the Dravidians up in the north. This is what I was expecting when we were talking about the civs earlier. Sebastian playing with Dravidians over here is going to get 200 extra wood upon reaching a new age. In addition to that, the blue player will also get, with this civilization, beautiful, there we go, He's gonna get with this civilization, with the Dravidians. There we are. A 50% discount on barracks upgrades. It's gonna have a 25% faster attack and skirmisher and elephant archer type units. And for the team bonus, he will get 5 extra population support per dock that he goes for. So each dock's going to amount as a house as well. Before I forget it, the Dravidians also get a bonus by which their fishermen and fishing ships collect extra resources, 15 extra resources before having to drop the food off. So that is really, really good. It's going to make the fishing a lot more efficient as well. And the Viper, on the other hand, playing with Hans over here, has got a civilization that begins with 200 population at the expense of 100 wood. So it begins with 200 population support, rather, at the expense of 100 wood. Besides that, we'll see for the Hans also. Let's check. 10 and 20% cheaper cavalry archer units in the castle and Imperial Ages we'll have for Mr. Viper. In addition to all of that, 50% accuracy on trebuchets as opposed to 15%. And for the team bonus, the Huns get 20% faster working stables. Now, usually what we see Huns do on a map like this is go for full CA. You can go for cavalry as well, standard cavalry. But going for CA seems to me like it's going to be the better choice, especially with Sebastian civilization getting like the pikeman upgrade for cheaper. You know. Could be good. Going for the map generation, you're already starting to talk about the map generation. What do we get over here? Well, both these players will spawn in between the corner and the center of the map. Let's take a look. There is a little engagement somewhere. Where is it? Up in the north, right? Yeah. So the Viper's trying to breach through the walls, and Sebastian doesn't seem to be paying attention. Now he is. Well done. But yeah, taking a look at the map generation, check this out. Sebastian is closer to the center over here in between both these spawns compared to the corner, right? So the blue player, he's got the main goal on the back. He's got the secondary goals very far away. One forward towards the right-hand side, the other one on the left-hand side very far away. Meanwhile, the stone is forward, and the secondary stone is forward as well. So this is not really the best. If he were to connect the dots, yeah, I don't think he's going to go for this, by the way. But he wouldn't be able to secure a single wood line unless he went for the walls, probably like this instead. What I think we are going to see probably is something more like from here to here, perhaps, like this, and then something like this, but that's not really going to allow him to secure the goals, right? Unless he goes for the walls around it instead. And it's not looking the best. It's not looking the best. He does, however, have the lumberjacks collecting wood from the forward wood, so he's probably going to connect like this instead, and then try to close himself on the left-hand side. That is not bad, but it's not the best because he doesn't really secure the resources easily. The Viper, on the other hand, the Viper is closer to the corner of the map. So the yellow player, because of this, should be able to secure the pond, right? By going for something like from here to here and from here towards the DC. Shouldn't be too expensive for him. However, in a similar fashion, he's going to struggle to secure the resources. We can see the main goal is on the left-hand side for the Viper, far away from the TC. The main stone on the right-hand side, far away from the TC. Secondary goal, super far for the Viper. The other secondary goal on the right-hand side, very far away. And the secondary stone is going to be part of the walls, probably on the left-hand side. Right now, he's not really going for any walls. He's got an outpost on the left-hand side instead. And I love to see this from the Viper, actually. It's such a simple play, but it's going to give him peace of mind. This way, he doesn't need to keep the fishing ship on the left-hand side. He doesn't need to go for a second dock over there or keep a villager, right? Just the outpost is going to provide enough vision. So let's take a look. The barracks coming up now for the Viper. Meanwhile, Sebastian's gone for the Josh already. He's got enough villager. That's gonna be a villager going down from the Viper. Sebastian's gonna get yet another villager over here. If he plays his cards right, should be able to body block the villager with the scout, but he won't do it in the end. He didn't want to take the chance against the scout, although to be fair, Viper scout was solo HP. I think Sebastian would have gotten away with both the scout and the villager kill. But this is once again a very strong start for the bull player. He's got extra military units. He will force the Viper into gold, into the archer range. And Sebastian Cannot really find any extra damage over here. Just missing on the weak villager from earlier is going to be kind of a wasted opportunity for the bull player, so to say. But getting the first villager kill is still going to be good, and oftentimes that's going to be already enough from a Josh. That's already going to be worth it, and I guess the game is going to stabilize from this point onwards. We'll see. No, Sebastian is not letting go. He's going for archer ranges now, and he's got archers on the way, so it's just not going to be malicious only. This is really good. With the archers, especially if he gets fletching, should be able to push villagers away from even behind the walls, right? On the left-hand side, the Viper has gotten a dock already up. He's sending a villager up in the north to try and get a sneaky dock around Sebastian's base. Meanwhile, Sebastian doesn't really have too much vision over here. He's going to use the old trick of sending the fishing ship far away to get scouted information. But the Viper comes from behind Sebastian's base and manages to get the dock up over here, right? Should be in a pretty good spot. That should be a yellow one, so use your imagination. Fletching's on the way now for Sebastian. Let's see what he's going for. On water, he's going for a fire galley on the left-hand side. The Viper's going for a fishing ship. So it seems like Sebastian's going to do a little bit better over there. And take a look at the walls Sebastian's going for, though. These walls will secure the main and secondary goals on the left-hand side of the TC, in addition to the wall line over there as well. So let's take a look at the engagement once again. The archers are coming out now for the Viper as well. Military count still higher for Sebastian. Can he get a good trade though? That's the question. The Viper has already shown in the past game how he can get better trades. Usually. Even with a smaller amount of units, just taking advantage of the hills is going to make a big difference. But right now, it seems like Sebastian is coming out on top. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sebastian's coming out on top once again. Over twice the military count for the bull player compared to the Viper. And on the left-hand side, we have a single galley from the Viper. Meanwhile, Sebastian already has 2 fire galleys and should be able to clean this up pretty easily. There's a little pause though. Let me take a look to see who's paused in the game. The game is paused by Sebastian. Let's take a look at APM. Yeah, not the highest for Sebastian right now. All right. I don't see anything in the game. Okay, there we go. Ah. Go back with your skirmishers. The Viper says. Apparently there was a little bit of a drop for a moment over there. That probably explains Sebastian's lower APM for a moment, right? Yeah, makes sense. Hey Chris, hi. Welcome back. Long time no siege. I got this on the way for the Viper. Sebastian's not going for any more. He's not making use of the second one over here either. Okay, now he realizes. He's not going for any extra units. So the Viper does have the potential to come back. There we go. The sneaky dock already came out for the Viper. And this is what I was talking about. Now Sebastian is going for a fire galley of his own. He realized about the dock eventually. By getting this. Who's player one? Player one is an Uruguayan player. Very, very promising young talent. One of those players you are expecting to see rise up in the next couple of years. He's been turning heads for the last year or so. Mostly because of his speed, which isn't really showing right now. But it's usually going to be significantly higher compared to even the very top players. But always struggling to get good results in tournaments. Good results in tournaments, and he's gonna look to change that, of course. This is Sebastian. I think Sebastian... Oh, nice shot over there from the Viper. He's going to clean up the left-hand side. Up in the north, he will get cleaned up by the looks of it. Yeah, most likely, unless he goes for a second fire galley. But I believe Sebastian... didn't he take on Jordan during one of the qualifiers for Red Bull World Legacy? Or was it Ganji? I think it was Ganji, right? I think it was Ganji that took on Jordan the round of... What was it? In the next to last round, and Sebastian on the other hand, I think he got close, but I don't think he managed to, right? Well, anyway, Sebastian was a contender, for instance, for the qualifiers of Red Bull Legacy as well. One of the surprise players alongside Kingstone, alongside Ganji, that not a lot of people would have anticipated to get to the latest stages of the qualifiers, but they did. Sebastian is going for the Castle Age now. The Viper does not have enough resources to go up. So the question over here becomes, what is the Viper going to do once he does go up? Because the Huns, sticking to 1 TC, triple archer range, cavalry archer production, usually bank on a good castle time to get a good amount of units outright early on, potentially not have to worry too much about the pressure from their opponent. But now Sebastian is sending a bunch of archers forward, skirmishers, and because it's going to be the first player to the Castle Age, should be able to get back in arrow. How many archers and skirmishers do we have over here? Yeah, the crossbowman upgrade. He's going for archer still. And if he's able to clean the majority of the units from the Viper, then I'm really sure going for the CA is going to be the best choice, given that Sebastian's going to have a momentum over there and the Viper would be kind of forcing tonight. He's going up to the Castle Age right now. Let's see, he's got 2 archer ranges. Going for 1 more shouldn't be too difficult. If he has to go for knights, if he does get cleaned up, for instance, he's gonna have to add a second stable, so we'll see. And they are here now too. Yeah, fair point, right? This is the Platinum League. This is the highest league of T9 to Titans League. So the fact that Sebastian has gotten himself in this position is nothing short of remarkable. And here comes the bull player with the crossman upgrade, the Bakken arrow upgrade. Forcing a tower from the Viper. I don't see a second stable coming out from the yellow player. I see a market on the way instead, and this could be really good for Sebastian. If he just lands those archers to the base of the tower, he's able to deny the goal over here, but he's going to try to go around instead, roam around and see if he can find any exposed economy. And he might as well be able to, because the Viper's got a bunch of stone miners, a bunch of lumberjacks over here. He's forcing to another tower. And well, if we weren't already sure what the Viper was going to go for, we'll know right now that at the very least he won't be able to go for any extra TC, so it's going to be 1 TC no matter what. And the question then becomes 1 TC into what? It's got a single stable over here, so night production is not going to be the best, and he's just going to push the Viper away from the wood. He's just going to keep 5 villagers idle for the Viper, but the yellow player already sends the villagers over to the left-hand side, so you can see the value in roaming around with the units as opposed to just sticking underneath the tower, right? Could probably have been the same as well if he had just landed the archers at the base of the tower over here. Most likely, the Viper would have sent the villagers over to the second goal in the back. So Sebastian's getting pushed away, and this is kind of the decision making, right, that we were talking about earlier. We were alluding to earlier. What does the Viper have to go for himself instead? He's got the War Galley upgrade, Crossman. We saw up in the north that the Viper ended up pushing Sebastian away on the right hand side. It seems like the Viper is going to be getting control of this pond as well. And on the left hand side, it seems like the Viper is going to get control of that one as well. So that's going to be all 4 ponds under control of the Snek. Should compensate somewhat for not getting access to extra TCs or not being able to go for extra TCs. Sebastian, on the other hand, he does have the second TC already up and the third TC is on the way. Yeah, and unit control has been a little bit of an issue for Sebastian. Despite his monstrous speed, unit control has not been the best. That allowed the Viper to get better traits for the most part. How's the Viper coming in with the scouts, by the way? Yeah, that's one villager going down for sure. There we go. Scout goes down. Still though, working count higher for Sebastian and should be getting even higher by the minute, assuming that he's able to produce the villagers. He needs to go for extra farms, given that he does not have any fishing ships anymore. But the Viper's trying to go for CA! Yes, sir! And he added the third archer range. After cleaning up the units from Sebastian, there is no immediate danger coming in from the bull players, so now the Viper is able to make a play for CA, and this is what we were expecting to see originally from the Huns when jumping into game number 2. So this could be really, really good for the Norwegian player and Sebastian. Sebastian, despite having the 3 TCs, because of the food situation, has struggled to keep production going, so yeah, he's still only 1 extra worker, right, which is not ideal. While the Viper's been going for fishing ships forever. Is the Viper going for Huns 1 TC cavalry archers like a doubt? Yeah. He's gonna try and make it work. It's not going to take too long for him to get the numbers he needs. Especially being under almost no pressure from Sebastian. The unit control over here for the Viper has been really good. Yeah, an amazing transition from the Viper, I would agree as well. There we go. The macro is now the macro is not out. True. Yeah, in the end, Sebastian is going to clean this up, but the Viper's got the CA already coming forward. If he pays attention to the units, he should be able to get some good damage over here. He's gotta be careful though, there are crossbows from Sebastian. The Viper doesn't seem like he's paying attention to speak out to these units, so he's going to get cleaned up. And Sebastian, he still has some units left forward. 5 crossbows will still take your villagers down. And then on the right hand side, we have the 3rd and 4th TCs on the way. The Viper did go for a 2nd TC already. Sebastian's been struggling to keep the TCs working, of course. The food economy was not the best for the blue player, but he's been trying to mitigate that. 22 food workers right now for the Viper, for Sebastian, sorry, the Viper on 17. And it seems like villager count is going to remain somewhat constant. So far, the Viper has gotten the better end of the deal. He's gotten a better KD over here. Quite nicely 5-4 KD ratio. It seems like very soon the Viper might be able to start catching up Sebastian villager count, and potentially getting ahead, of course, with the extra TC. Viper now better economy. He's got a comparable amount of workers, a few less, but he does have wheelbarrow, which Sebastian does not have, and he does have also heavy plow and bosa, which Sebastian does not have either. Yeah. Beautiful, the cavalry archers are coming in from the Viper once again. Not too many. The engagement taking place down south. The Viper does take the Magnus down, pushes the cavalry. With the cavalry, the crossbows away. Beautiful. Yeah, the Viper's cleaning this up, so now he's significantly ahead of military count. He's managed to start pulling ahead in worker count as well, especially with the raids going. The cavalry archers start taking the villages down. Well done. Another villager goes down over there from Sebastian. Yes, sir. And the Viper's cavalry archers over here quite clearly do not have Thammering yet, but they will still get another villager. It's got more coming from where that came from, of course. Archer range. For Sebastian, that's going to be the third one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It's a little too late, though. The Viper. He is on triple arch range production. He's been on triple arch range production for a while, and he's got already several groups of cavalry archers roaming around the map. Taking villagers down, left, right, and center. The Viper is going after the mantle over there with the knights. Won't be able, though, to get the mantle down, but he does manage to very, very narrowly dodge the shot. Left hand side. It's already breached through. Let's see. Sebastian's got some patrolling crossbows. These are going to get cleaned up. Yeah, good unit control for the Viper. Decent unit control for Sebastian. Still no Thammering though. The Viper needs to go for it. It's a huge upgrade for cavalry archers. Very good unit control for the Viper as well. But when the units to the rhythm on the TC fire, he's gonna be able to get a bunch of villagers down over here while keeping Sebastian busy trying to get the single cavalry archer. The rest of the Viper's units will end up taking a bunch of extra villagers down as well. So, Imperial Age is on the way for both these players. This is remarkable to see, especially under the pressure that Sebastian was. You wouldn't expect the blue player to try and make a play for the Imperial Age over here, but the Viper? Well, the Viper's pressure over here was not quite as strong, so Sebastian does manage to save enough resources, scrape enough to go out to the Imperial Age, but so will the Viper, who will come out on top once we get to the next stage. In game number 1, we already saw the Viper seems to have a better, you know, a hang of the later stages of the game, so I would probably put my money on the Viper for the Imperial Age onwards, and we'll see what Sebastian goes for. There isn't really too much that the blue player is going to have access to in the Imperial Age that's going to be particularly strong to the Viper's available units, right? Well, the Sebastian get, once again, faster attacking skirmishers. Elephant archers could be good, but, you know, the Viper does also have melee cavalry, which will be very strong against ranged units. Not only the knight line of units, but also the possibility of Tarkans is going to be there, especially as the Viper is getting the castle up and a bunch of stables up. If he goes for Marauders, he should be able to go for Tarkans from the stables. Working time. It's been better for the Viper. If you're talking about the gather economy time, if you're talking about the worker efficiency, well, it's also going to favor the Viper. So far, it's been better for the yellow player, despite the fact that the villager count has been somewhat even for the most part in the game up until fairly recently. It seems like it's been a struggle. And take a look at this. We have Marauders on the way for the Viper. So he will be going for the Tarkans. Yes, sir. And Thammering is finally on the way, so now Viper's cavalry archers will be significantly more accurate. He's got conscription on the way, plate barden armor. That's gonna be already +3, +4 armor for the cavalry units, for the melee cavalry units. Meanwhile, Sebastian on the other hand, he's going for Arbalister, Bracer, Chemistry, and Thammering, so it's going to be full Arbalister for Sebastian, and I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan. A few Tarkans over here from the Viper are going to dominate against Arbalesters. And check this out. Elite Tarkin is on the way now for the Viper as well. He realizes about the Arbalesters. And immediately we see a very heavy investment into Tarkans. Sebastian's gonna try and prevent the house from going down and to keep the cavalry archer trapped over here. The house is going down pretty quickly, and it seems like the Viper will be able to get some of the cavalry archers away. Not in the end, though. Yeah, good quick roll for Sebastian, actually. Doesn't that sacrifice in a villager? But that was probably the most effective villager sacrifice that we have seen in a while. Sebastian manages to completely clean out the cavalry archers from the Viper. That was good. Cavalry archers on the right-hand side, though. Also, Sebastian had most of the units on the left-hand side. He's got his army completely out of position to defend the wood line. And here come the Tarkans, and this is huge. Plate Barden armor with the elite Tarkans. These guys do not give a crap about the castles, do not give a dime about the TCs, even if fully garrisoned over here because of how freaking strong they are. And Sebastian recognizes game number 2 is going to be a loss already, so he calls it GG. And we'll see the Viper get a 2-0 lead in the series. Remember, this is play all 3 though, so we will have a 3rd game no matter what. Let's go through the achievements once again. We'll see for military, a better KD for the Viper. In the end, is going to surpass 4-3. While for economy, we have a stronger economy for the Viper as well, collecting about 10,000 extra resources, or 9,200 extra resources. Substantial lead for the yellow player. And then for society, we have a higher worker count towards the end of the game. So while economy was already better for the Viper, it was going to keep on getting stronger and stronger for him by the minute if the game kept on going. So Sebastian recognizes the disadvantage and calls it GG. This is play 05. We are going to have all play 03, sorry, so we are going to have a 3rd game no matter what. But the series is already lost for Sebastian. He's going to be playing for the game for game number 3 because that's once again going to come in as the first tiebreaker. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the support, Dad Squad. It's always lovely to see you showing your support in the chat. Let's take a look then at what we get for game number 3. We're gonna have first off Sebastian playing with the Bohemians. The Viper is playing with Burgundians on the right and left hand sides in the blue and yellow colors. What does it mean? Well, Sebastian with the Bohemians is going to get a strong civilization for Arena. To be fair, that's also going to be the case for the Viper, but Sebastian's civilization is going to be deemed stronger than the Burgundians over here. It's going to be a top 3 civilization, if you can call it like that. And for Sebastian, that means that we are going to get first off with Bohemians free gold mining upgrades. On top of that, we also have for this civilization, Sebastian's that is, besides the free mining upgrades, he's going to get Sanctity and Favor Affect Villagers, a 100 wood discount on blacksmiths and universities, in addition to 25% higher bonus damage from spearline units against enemy units, and access to chemistry and hand cannoneer in the Castle Age. For the team bonus, on the other hand, we're gonna see also... Yeah, it's not the best. Okay, there we go. For the team bonus, we're gonna see for them 80% faster working markets. Meanwhile, the left-hand side for the Viper, playing with the Burgundians, means that he's gonna have 25% higher attack on gunpowder units. He gets a 40% full discount on eco upgrades, which he gets access to 1H earlier. And then in addition to that, we're gonna have for the Burgundians, for Mr. Viper, is gonna get a 50% discount on stable upgrades, in addition to access to the Cavalier upgrade in the Castle Age. Now let's take a look at the map generation. Before I forget it though, the team bonus for the Burgundians actually is going to give them food access from relics, in addition to gold access. So let's take a look at the map generation, starting with Mr. Sebastian first. The bull player is gonna have the main gold up in the north. We're gonna have the secondary, actually the main gold is going to be down the south. We're gonna have the secondary gold up in the north. The other secondary goal on the left-hand side from the bull player outside the walls will be a little bit harder to access, but it shouldn't be too difficult. And then on the right-hand side, we have the main stone, and the secondary stone up in the north as well is going to be available for Mr. Sebastian. And he's got the berries on the back, and that's beautiful. However, the secondary goal over here is a little bit of a sore point. Why? Because it could get spotted, and we have talked about this. Now, I don't think the Viper is going to be the one to go for full aggression, but just for hypothesizing, if we were to see the red player go for some scouting alongside the walls like this, as we always say, he would get vision of the goal over here as early as the village. So if for whatever reason the Viper was willing to go for a forward castle, and this should be the yellow color actually, so let's fix that. He could go for a forward castle, right? Probably around here. And going for one castle around this area would allow the Viper to deny this, so the stone, the gold over there, this gold as well. And will be absolutely fantastic. An absolute fantastic position for the yellow player. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the left-hand side, we'll see that the Viper, he gets the main gold on the back, and it's a beautiful one. He's got the secondary goal forward outside the walls. This is to be expected, and the secondary goal is going to be on the back. So unlike Sebastian's map generation, none of the resources from the Viper over here will be exposed to potential scouts. They will not be scoutable, right? So that means if Sebastian was the one to go for aggression, if he for whatever reason wanted to go for a forward castle, he would most likely end up going for one either over here or potentially over here, right? Like, it really depends on what he wants to deny. Going for the castle over here would deny the stone. Going for the castle over here would deny the gold. Gold seems more important to me, especially as the Viper still has the main stone on the back of his base. He's not really going to be struggling for stone at all. Village is on the way already for both these players. The last thing we have to take a look at, we have yet to take a look at, is the relic generation. Now, this is going to be pretty fair, so it seems very good. We have the main... well, I wouldn't say the main relic, but we have the neutral relic up in the north, which is going to be favoring Viper a little bit more over here, kind of like so. And then we have two relics on the left-hand side, closer to Viper's base. We have two relics on the right-hand side, closer to Sebastian's base. Yeah, and it's going to be pretty good, right? It's pretty fair overall. Except for this gold spawning forward from Sebastian, I would say the map is almost perfect, honestly. Village there. Village is here now for the Viper as well. Castle H on the way now for both these players as well. And so far, it's looking a little bit better for Sebastian, just because of going up a little bit earlier. He does go up, though, on 2 fewer villagers and a little bit of extra LTC time, but having the head start to it and going for the stable over here means that he should be in a better position. However, the Viper does have a stable as well. Let's check. Portuguese castle drop on Burgundians? Bohemians? What do you mean? Mistook the save batch over there. Right. Yeah. Kind problem. Monk on the way now for Mr. Sebastian. And the Viper, well, the Viper, he only gets the monastery on the way now. Center on the way for the Viper. Sebastian is not going for the TCs. He's got only now enough resources to go for one extra TC. Yeah, and as for the economy is already strong enough for him to go for extra TC production, right? So he does have the second TC on the way. It's going to be a little bit later compared to the Viper, especially given the fact that Sebastian had a head start to the Castle Age. It's certainly not ideal. Now the Viper's got the third TC on the way, and Sebastian doesn't really have a third TC anywhere to be seen. And you know what? The Viper is actually the only player who's gone for the light cavalry upgrade over here. This is really good. None of these civilizations is going to get access to bloodlines, for instance, so their cavalry is not the best, but the Viper is the only player with the light cavalry upgrade. This is making the scouts significantly more effective against monk units, of course. Taking these down on 2 hits compared to 3. We'll see. The conversion's coming up, and Sebastian is really trying to bait the Viper into the conversions, but is unable to do it. And the Viper, right now, on a larger scout count with light cavalry. Now we have the light cavalry upgrade for Sebastian as well, but still half as many units compared to the Viper. Yeah, not the best. There he goes. Monk's going down right away. It's not even close. And Sebastian loses 4 monks over there. 400 resources down the drain. And my lord, the Viper does end up losing 1 monk over there. It seems like it's going to be 2 in the end. Yes, sir. Still favoring the Viper in terms of KD, though. The player with the most units right now out around the map. The only player who's collected the relic, the Viper that is, and he was trying to go for the neutral one as well. Notice that he collected the one that was closer to his walls, and then he sent the monk forward to try and collect the one up in the north. So now he's managed to bring that one back very close to his base and should be able to collect both those relics in the end because of it. Now let's take a look at that. That's another monk going down. It's going to be the 3rd monk going down for the Viper. Meanwhile, Sebastian, still on 4 monk losses, has lost the most resources trying to make the monk play work, right? But the Viper comes in right now into the walls from Sebastian. He's going to try to get some villagers down, and this could be really good to notice how Sebastian was trying to trade for the scouts down the south. He was chasing the weak one, but in the end, the Viper gets 1 villager over here. His unit control has been absolutely fantastic, and on the left-hand side, we're going to see the Viper go and collect the 2 relics that he left over here up for grabs. That's going to bring him up to 3 relics already, and then there are the 2 relics closer to Sebastian's side of the map that the Viper is certainly going to go for after himself as well. 4 TC on the way for the Viper. Sebastian didn't manage to get the 3rd TC up eventually, but we can see that he is already behind by about 4 workers. So the Viper is able to keep all 4 TCs working, which with 24 food workers plus wheelbarrow should be no issue. Viper's gonna be in a much better position, right? 50C on the way even! This is so good! Keep in mind as well, the Viper, he does have heavy plow and he does have bowsaw. Meanwhile, Sebastian on the other hand, he's going for fervor right now. That's going to be an eco upgrade for his villagers, right? Fast movement speed. But but it's not really looking the best. It's not really looking the best. Button? Could be. 5 TCs? He's already taken the series, right? He could go for some sort of fantasy play for sure if he wanted to. We'll see. Alex, common name. Found the Viper right now as well. Hey, there we go. Fervor's here already. Fantastic. 15% faster moving units. Wheelbarrow on the way now for Sebastian as well. Catching up. He's got Boso. He's got Heavy Plow on the way. Meanwhile, the Viper with the civilization he's got can go for 2 Mansaw already. He could potentially even go for crop rotation. That's going to come in at a pretty penny though, so he doesn't want to go for it yet. It's actually the same amount of resources. 2 Mansaw compared to Heavy Plow. The distribution is going to be different though. Big Sponge! Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the resub. 14 months. 2 months past a year already. And thank you so much for the extended support. And welcome back to the club. Plunge versus Gunpowder though. I mean, could be, right? Sebastian does get access to chemistry and hand cannon near the castle age, but doesn't mean that he's going to go for it necessarily. And the Viper, of course, if he is to play for Flemish Militia, he's going to make a play for it well into the Imperial Age. Castle drop coming in from the Viper. Interesting though. He does have vision of this gold over here, yet he decided to go for the castle drop on the left-hand side. If he had gone for the castle instead on the right-hand side over here, right next to the stone, he would have been able to. Actually, maybe a little bit closer to here. He would have been able to deny all 3 resources. So not super convinced about the castle placement over there for Mr. Viper. Really, it should be on the way for both these players very soon. The Viper has managed to get all 5 relics. Been gone quite a bit. The old man is still stomping on kids. The old man being the Viper. I got that. Well, the Viper has seen a return to form, if you can call it, of sorts, in the last year or so. But it's not the dominating Viper that we used to see in the past. At the very least, everybody else seems to be catching up really nicely. And while the Viper is still extremely strong and regarded by many still as the best Age of Empires player ever, and the best current Age of Empires player still, it's not been a walk in the park for the Viper anymore. And as proof for that, you can take a look at the Grand Melee, right? For not too long ago. Still top 3? Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's not even up for debate. Top 3 for sure. Top 1? A lot of people would think so as well. So for Sebastian, it's already GG. He really had a good game 1 and part 2. Well, the Viper's still going for the villagers. He's got skirmishers on the way, so he'll have something against the Gunpowder potential from Sebastian. And by the way, thank you for the follows, guys. Those of you following for the first time. Well, hopefully for the first time. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. Village here for the Viper. Chemistry's on the way. Conscription's on the way for the Viper. He's got leather archer armor. Paladin upgrade on the way as well. And you know what? You know what? The Viper has gotten to 136 villagers, but he's not going for the Flemish play anymore by the looks of it. It's going to be Paladin and skirmishers. And he could eventually make a play for the Flemish Revolution anyway afterwards, but right now doesn't seem to be in the plans. For Siege Workshop, for everything from the Viper, Archer Ranges, Stables, the Castle, and 2 Siege Workshops even so. Once he gets this, that's going to put him in a very good spot. The Viper is going for Burgundian Vineyards. The Castle Age unique technology for the Burgundians will make farmers generate gold at a very slow rate. It's going to take about 25 farmers to generate as much gold as a single relic, for instance. But this is good still. The Viper is on 56 farmers, so that's going to be as if he had 7 relics worth of gold income from the relics alone, of course, without actually collecting it. And because of the team bonus for the Burgundians, the 5 relics he already has, they are producing food at the same rate as they are producing gold, so it's going to be like almost having 10 or 12 extra villagers for the Viper over here in terms of effective economy, and that puts him in a much better position, right? So Sebastian is probably scratching his head over here, trying to figure out a way to hold on against the Viper, and it seems like it's going to be just a matter of time before the Viper completely dominates, right? Well, it seems like it would most likely not be the case. Fantastic. Oh, the Onager playing from the Viper though. He's got it. He's got it through. I saw the Onager earlier. I thought he was gonna try and make use of this, like against a hand cannoneer or something. But here he comes with a paladin straight. Sebastian's soft underbelly. As the quick walls come in for the Wu player, they are not going to be enough to prevent the Paladin from completely obliterating his economy. On the back, we're going to see nothing but carnage coming in from the Viper's units, and he keeps on sending more and more Paladin as Sebastian is unable to mitigate the cut over there. And in the end, it seems like we are not going to get the button. I would have loved to see it, for sure, but Sebastian is not going to give the Viper enough time over here. As the Viper takes game number 3, it's going to be a clean sweep for the Viper. Perfect score over here, flawless series. And while game number 1 was looking really good for Sebastian in the end, the Viper is able to clutch it up and get a perfect score for the first set. Let's go through the achievements. Someone else sees bombard cannons appear and disappear. Oh, that's actually yes, that's a thing. Where are the bombard cannons? We don't have bombard cannons anymore. But the thing is, I'm not really sure if that's within the game as well, or if that is just capturage. If I had noticed it before, I would have taken a look at the game, but I think it's probably just capturage. I'm gonna have to check that out later. Anyway, for military, we have a better KD for the Viper by quite a lot, about 9 to 8 KD ratio. Meanwhile, for economy, we have a stronger economy for the Viper, collecting well over 10,000 extra resources. A larger villager max count, the fewest villager losses over here, although both players produce the same amount of villagers. In the end, Sebastian took too many losses for his villager max count to be comparable to the Viper's, and towards the end of the game, the Viper... PvC vanished? Well, yeah, but I don't think that's what he meant, right? We've had this bug where the sprite actually disappears. Well, regardless, the Viper doesn't end up taking the series over here. Let's go back and wait for the second set.